KALASK!
Greetings, Kalask.
Greetings, Felicia person, right?
Yes, you startled me. That's so funny. Kalask. I was waiting, and then, yes.
Yes, it happens.
Yes, it does.
Not
yes.
that we're not used to people being startled by our particular energy, but usually it's more people that are expecting us, yes?
Yes.
Well, believe us, we started to wrestle the first time and directing with it directly as well.
Yeah, actually, that's a question I would like to know about. Like your energy. What does it, and with the vessel, like with me, when your energy is around, I don't.
Yes.
I know. It's strong, but it's not overtaking me. I'm taking it in and, listening and stuff to what you are saying. But does this mean like your maybe your energy isn't real close? Because I would like to know, like, is there certain things that would be even more intense that happens with the body?
Well, obviously the entities are more intense, but the idea is us, yes, correcting two beings and your word, either the vessel or you or whatever. Of course, there are certain intensity differences depending how far we are reaching into your energy or the vessel, the energy or anybody else, right?
Yes.
So, it kind of depends what exactly you're referring to. If there's a mismatch of energy, right, with what's a greater extent of our frequency, more percentage, so to speak, that we direct with the vessel first, it was great difference in what it was able to hold at the time, right? So, there's some intensity due to the misalignment of frequency, or on the other hand, of course, another point, it can be more intense when there's more interference. So, for example, if you have perhaps a cleaving hot object, right? And you're dropping it in cold water, there's going to be an effect, right?
Yes.
Due to the difference in frequency, in this case being represented physicality by temperature. Now, if you take an even hotter object, even colder water, likely most glasses or cups where they're holding the water will break, much greater effect, right?
Yes.
Because there's a greater difference in frequency, in energy, in this case, heat and cold. Now, that's one option of difference, and therefore difference makes for the effect. On the other hand, however, there could also be a bigger object, right? So there's more heat being emitted simply because the object is bigger, correct? And therefore there would be a greater effect. Perhaps not the best analogy, but something for you to clasp onto with your logical mind while you're studying frequency. So the idea here being that two options can be the cause of a greater energetic result. In one case being negative, in the case there's too much difference, so there's just clashing. In the other case, the energy influx is greater. And we, learning ourselves how far we can direct with you further before you break as beings, right? For especially your heart. If there's more influx of energy and you're on fine-tuned your frequency, it can damage your heart apparently, right?
Yes.
Just as other areas, spiritual circuitry, whatever, can get you very ungrounded. They're just not warning you about this arranging, but nonetheless can also be very damaging if you're connected to beings that are too light. Now, on the other hand, of course, when you're more aligned to our frequency and you're looking for more energy of us to be influxing, to be coming, and you learn to ground the energy and work with it, there can be more energy, making it very enticing, yes? For example, if you overdose on caffeine or take too much cocaine, right? That might create a similar effect. Or even if you're running very fast and you have adrenaline pumping, or well, for more for the males in your species, whereas females are not as much engaging in such behavior. But for example, when you're in a fist fight, your hands are shaking, for example, right? When you're in such a heated state, or when you just kill the person, or perhaps during sex when you're orgasming, right? When you're in those stages, you're much more likely to be open to certain energies that are more connected to outer frequency. So because you're more energy enhanced in general, especially adrenaline. Adrenaline is pumping through your body, which by the way also makes you very delicious. No offense. Take it as a compliment. Now, it's like spice basically for us. Now, not just because it tastes better on the tongue, but also tastes better in the energy, right? So it's more pleasant for us to be in a frequency when you're in that state.
Okay, so so my body could end up because I do get shaky or heated up and then sweating, and then so would it be some different symptoms like that?
Well, that's obviously sweating example, right? That can be an overheating process. We are much aware from the vessel, especially when you start with this co-creative process that you call channeling, right? That can easily happen when there's too much energy influx that the vessel, in this case yours, cannot take.
Yeah.
It overheats. Be careful, especially with any energy in the back, right? When there's some in your back, when it heats up there, especially lower back, that can be a warning signal, right?
When it would be getting too intense?
When it gets too hot, especially in the lower back, when it gets very unpleasant. Not like, it's warm, very warm, but it started to be hurtful, hot, heating, and when you feel that with your hand, it's not actually hot, but energetically it feels like almost like you're having fever, but on your frontal skull, but on your lower back, right? Or perhaps like you are lying down in the sun for too long, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Like you have a sunburn on your lower back. If it starts to feel like this, then you might want to disconnect whatever it is you're interacting with, not just us. It's not necessarily bad energy, it just means there's some mismatch or an overheating process. But if you're just sweating, it usually just means there's too much of energy flowing, can be good energy, right? Just like when you're running very fast, right? You're getting exhausted. It's just your body telling you, well, maybe at this point it's enough, right? And then you need to decide yourself if you can take more or not.
That's great information. And then also that I don't have to be afraid. I don't really want to really use that word. I can tune in to my body, and it's okay if I'm going through these things. I just listen to my body, and then I can ground myself more or disconnect, and then do it again. Okay, go ahead.
Hold on. Remember, there is no time, so it's not like you have to wait. It's just you have to adjust your frequency. Of course, you can create the illusion of time by deciding, well, perhaps I need another hour to get in the right frequency if you wish. Nothing wrong with that, or you could do it instantly. The point is, you are changing frequency. If you need an hour to have the illusion of, well, some time passed, now I can try again, right? That's up to you. Or you can do it immediately when you say, well, different frequency now, or maybe you need a day, whatever you create it. Just don't try to trick yourself to pretending that you need less time because there is no time. Be aware first and foremost that you create your own frequency, and then you will see how much time as your conscious mind creates in order as a permission to let go of the energy before you tune into it again. But in general, you don't have to overthink it.
Yes,
yes, the more you get into your thinking, the idea you're closing down your third eye and you're not seeing what you're doing, basically. It's basically like your navigation system on or off during driving, right?
Yes. And I have been seeing that I constructed time So I'm seeing that it's completely malleable, and I'm learning more about using the word frequency.
Well, let us catch you there. Very
Okay.
common in your spiritual psychic community, right?
Okay.
No offense, but very much people love to use a different word. I'm learning to use this word, as you just said, right?
Yes.
Now, the point is your energy frequency where changes. Depends on what your decision is energetically, not words that you're using, right?
Okay.
Otherwise,
Yeah,
if you're just collecting crystals, right, it might as well be class if you're not doing anything with it but just collect them because that's the spiritual thing to do, right? That's more the exoteric than the esoteric part, right? Or words, and then you end up using certain words. Well, that doesn't resonate with me, but in reality just me, well, I currently don't like it because I don't like the color of it or whatever, right?
Damn, yeah. Yes.
There you go.
Yeah, I do that quite a bit.
Yes, we're there.
I hesitate because I'm trying to figure out the correct word, and I should just use whatever's coming out.
The point is you've changed your thought patterns, but your words can of course be very helpful to change your thought patterns, right?
Yeah.
But in many cases, they're just the expression of what you think. Where that's even the same from your own, not so much spiritual, awakened, second, whatever. People's on your work, whether believe it as a poet or whatever, we're just trying to vessel's mind this point, so we decide to share it. You should be careful with your actions because they become your fate, and you should be careful with your words because they become your actions, but you should also become more careful with your thoughts because they become your words. So you see there where it starts, it's not the word level, but the thought level. You will of course go in further and say your frequency or your conviction or is what makes your thoughts, right? Your state you're being energetic. But especially when you're speaking words, that's already down the line, right? So if you just change your words, you're not changing much because very often people in your work that think they're awakened, whatever, right? They just change the words or outward appearance, the clothing, etc. But it's the same meaning still. They're just decide, well, I want to look different to the outside, which is perfectly fine thing to do. It just doesn't change much.
Yes. Wow. Yeah. And everything that you're talking about, I feel like I've been really going through. I've been going through this stuff. So thank you for reiterating that. I have been also, instead of hesitating, going ahead and yelling or getting frustrated or getting mad and being okay with it. My boyfriend here has been assisting me in that, and he's been, letting me be me. And then we actually get stronger. We get stronger with that. And also I'm letting him be him because he's very strong and his energy, and which I'm getting, it helps me get used to masculine energy and without being beat up in a way, that I can energetically go ahead and do these things and get fired up, but I'm not going to be attacked because actually it's not what I want, but yes, he assists in this with me, and I'm grateful for that.
Wonderful. We would also recommend you strongly, as you're aware, perhaps currently, you might want to work on your throat, right? So especially when you're talking about articulating yourself, obviously you create some blocking right there. Of course, it can be some coughing, right? So, we're aware West also had some issues earlier this year with certain throat ideas, so we had to pause our direction for what you call a time period. For us, was just clear the vessel about the frequency alignment, therefore creating such an experience now. In your case, obviously not to the great degree, but over a longer period of you call it timing, so therefore the frequency might be similar. You just decide to live it out differently by stretching it over such an idea of frequency and time frame. Now, again, we don't want to also be around the bush here. The idea is mainly focus on your throat, focus on your articulation, your interaction with other beings in your world, right? especially boyfriend, obviously, as you bring this up and you're communicating with the person, but also where you picked up from his frequency and using that to express yourself, right? All of those things that are connected to it. Also might help with the third eye. As you're aware, we mentioned you may be able to interpret frequency, especially when you're trying to guess, well, is this really Kalas? No, is this something else? Or is this the right amount of energy, the wrong amount of energy, the wrong kind of energy, whatever, right? That's when you're starting to abstract your third eye, right? When you're doing the second guessing. Now, same as the speaking idea. Should I say this or should I not say this? Did I say this correctly? You're creating more hampering. So again, when you're not, you don't need to yell around very loudly, right? You can if you wish. However, the point is you articulate your curve clearly. You don't think much about what you are saying. Just let it flow. That will open the throat much clearer. And again, thought patterns, the same applies to the third eye.
Yes, I agree.
Yes.
I agree. And this is what I am integrating and incorporating.
Wonderful.
And doing and being. So I'm grateful for your explaining that and talking about it, because this is really important, especially in my reality. So
yes, we're aware. That's why we're reading it from your frequency.
Yes, and I can see, which I wanted to ask, individuals get upset at me or frustrated or angry or even want to bite my head off. And this has happened quite often. And from your perspective, would you be able to explain why this happens? Is it because of what we're just talking about?
Well, no one just gets angry at you. You make people angry. Now, that doesn't mean, Lisa did something wrong. No, they has to be angry. No, you attract people that are either in that state, or you set out a frequency that you get repulsed back in such a manner. Doesn't mean the other person doesn't have any issues or they got something ongoing with themselves, but it doesn't matter to you, right? Now, you're expressing yourself more clearly. Since you said those words, your thought, by the way, opened up further, so you see that's certainly a good idea to take it in that direction. So we don't recommend you close anything down, express yourself. So that is certainly a good idea. Now, when you interact with people in your world, obviously you want to be grounded, right? But sacred also important. If you work more in that area, you will likely create a better exchange with people on the emotional level. Again, we can refer to the heart issues as our speciality, but when it comes to sensations, etc., it's often also linked to those particular areas in your physical form. But sometimes the solar plexus, to some degree, your density in the world, etc., but to a large degree, it's the sacral. Your pleasantness to be in the physical world, right? Your body especially, right?
Yes.
And more than that, the more you're in the flow. Yes.
Yes. Yes. Although lately, I have been wondering, like certain things have been happening where, what if I didn't have my family members anymore? You know, because I don't speak to my mom, dad, and brother right now. And then my daughter is having, well, if it's me, I'm having difficulties. And then it kind of brought something up, which was quite painful, but it brought up, what am I doing here? And what do I want to do? Like, what if there was no one? What else do I want to do here? And so those things have been coming up, which I'm glad, because I'm asking myself those questions, which has to do, I think, with the sacral as well.
Yes, but also with the throat.
Yeah, and
yes, you're a connection, obviously, to your particular daughter, right?
Yes.
Of course, there's also a connection to your sacral to a large degree, because once birth, right, happens from your physical form, it's connected to your sexuality and also therefore your sexual pleasure, your joy being alive, also bring another being into life, of course, also your gender identity is tied to it, therefore also your daughter. Again, we're aware of those inner child ideas, when your spiritual second driven community associate all kinds of things with it, right? Not all of
Yes.
those is considered true, but however, the general concept is obviously in existence. Yes, certain aspect of yourself that you can or project outward, and also, of course, your daughter can be a representation of that because she's physical, comes from you, yes, being your child, right? So you go to connect to her based how far you're in touch with your own, whatever you want to call your inner child or an identity you have of yourself as a child, which then reminds you of her and vice versa, right?
Yes.
And there you go.
Yes.
There you have the throat. That's obviously also connected to communicating with this individual, particularly when you're just thinking about it.
Yes. Thank you.
Also talk about the throat, some water to the vessel.
Yes. Okay. Oh. Hmm. So others are seeing me, and I'm seeing myself more now as opinionated, and probably forceful, but yes, forceful, controlling. Oh. Hmm.
Yes, you're expressing your identity clearer, which is a good thing. Don't hesitate when it comes to that at all, right? And yes, you might create conflict with other individuals in your work, but that's something to be worked on later. But the correct reaction is not to close down your throat. Keep your throat open. Just because something comes up doesn't mean you should go back in your shell, right?
Yes.
Right? So, for example, let's say your kitchen is very dirty and you open a kitchen door, everything is dirty. The result should not be to close the kitchen door again. The result should be to start cleaning the kitchen, right?
Yes.
There we go. So if you just close the door again, I'd rather not see any of them, not express myself at all. Then
Or
well,
that somebody else should be doing it because
or
it's their mess. Yeah. But really, it's just my frequency, because I understand, like, go ahead.
The mess is created by everybody involved. So the idea is everybody in the kitchen dirty, so to speak, or the action doesn't go smoothly, right? It's because the people interacting with each other, someone in misalignment, or they're all fighting and working on something, etc. Nothing wrong with cutting people off your life if they're not functional, but never cut down your own throat. If people are negatively reacting to you expressing what you feel like expressed as the wrong people, or you both need to work on something. But the working should never be to close down. Never keep the peace. Because that kind of peace that your species needs to keep, right, is usually suppression.
Yeah, I that keeping the peace I've held on to for a while, since I was young. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I don't
that's what slows it down.
Yes. Yes. And I don't want to keep the peace anymore.
Right, and if you want to come to a conclusion with the other person, the solution is not to keep fighting permanently, but sometimes you need some upflaring, like open discussion, so to speak, right? Or even just an energetic exchange, not like you need to sit down and exchange certain words. It can be that, but sometimes it can also be just you're sitting down, right? And you're just exchanging frequency until you come to a conclusion, which can either be, well, this person needs to go for my life, another person needs to come in, or I'd rather go to another place and do something else, or we just come to a conclusion. But it should never be to just, well, just stay in this toxic situation or and just not express myself. That's obviously not going to do any good. It's just going to cause harm.
Okay, yes. And I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. And that's what was coming up is with my daughter. She didn't want me to speak or talk about certain things, or teach her children or any of these things. And I was like, well, I'm thinking, I thought about it and I was like, well, this is going to happen. So if that's not what you want, then we just can't physically be together.
Yes, but more.
Yes, and that's what I came to. And then the situation has adjusted some. So I see and know what you're talking about.
Yes, we are just talking about the same frequency, but we're correcting yourself get better now again that you're expressed there, right?
Yeah.
There you go. There's still something lingering there, but that might be something that needs to be addressed in your own interaction then, or the lack thereof, depends what you choose. However, obviously also the sacred area then is particularly tied in with your connection to your daughter, right?
Yes.
So also sense it there when you're connecting to her energetically, right? Doesn't matter what words you're enunciating, but energetically depends greatly what you pick up while you're in such a situation, if you want to keep having such interaction or not.
Yes. Yes.
Now, we have, of course, different family structures than you do, so we cannot tell you exactly what works for your species and what works for ours. So we are just pick up from your own frequency and sharing information about the other beings interacting. Our family structure is much different anyway.
Yes. I have been wanting to be able to just let go and release, not having my grip on anything here. Not hanging on to it and just letting it go. And releasing my attachment to things.
Well, yes.
Yes.
Nothing wrong with having interactions with others, or with beings, or with peoples, or situations, whatever. But attachment is something else. When you're attached to something, you're usually acting out of a lack, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Uncertainty, yes.
Yeah, fear of losing it, losing that thing.
Right.
And I'm not even going to lose it. If it goes, then it goes because it's supposed to. And anyways, yeah. Everything comes and goes anyways all the time.
Right, and when you're in the right frequency, the good things will come, the bad things will vanish.
Yes. Yes.
And again, frequency is not about using the word.
Yeah, our words don't make sense to me.
Well, yeah, certain concepts beyond the physical, there are no real words in your language, so we're also just using what we find in the West, but where you need to be in a state to you really know what we're referring to exactly. Otherwise it becomes lip service, as you're calling this, right?
Yes. And I am also learning that that I could use whatever words I'm using and hesitate, but that doesn't negate what my energy is saying.
Right, exactly. Your words rarely change your energy, but your energy can change your words. But if you don't change your words, just your energy, you will be saying something else entirely compared if you just change your words but keep your energy. Right?
Yes.
For example, when a grumpy person comes in the room and they say, well, go fuck all of you, or they say, good morning, energy is the same, right? Or they're coming with the energy with an uplifting frequency, and you're sharing, well, good morning, everybody. Oh, well, go fuck yourself, everybody. The energy that travels to the peoples will be much stronger in terms of the effect of interaction than, for example, would be, well, just changing the words. Now, obviously, our creating are much different, and we would see much harsher to you anyway with our energy, even no matter what we would enunciate, but we're referring here to an example from your species, right? And we would assume that your species relates more to those concepts, or again, in all species, in all cases, what matters is the energy. For us, for example, the good morning would rather be annoying, but a good morning might seem more appropriate, but again, it greatly depends who and what you're interacting with, but you also attract beings and peoples that resonate better with what you're expressing when you are in the right adjustment or frequency, where again, words don't matter. What matters is what you're carrying. Even if you say nothing, you can communicate with everybody in a room, or you all rather do communicate with each other in a room, even if none of you knows it's even possible, and if none of you intentionally tries to do so.
Yeah, I've been living like a hypocrite in a way, or because the energy, I'm getting to understand myself.
Your entire species is like that.
Yeah.
So don't worry.
Yay. Oh.
You're all a hot mess.
Yeah, we are. I am a hot mess. I appreciate Kalask and your energy.
Appropriate.
Yes, very appropriate.
We appreciate the sentiment as well.
So,
now, obviously, when directing with other beings, it also has greatly to do with your sacred, again, you said earlier, particularly your daughter, right? But in general, that radiates frequency. So if, again, you're interacting, for example, a person who reacts the way that apparently there's conflict happening, it's likely, in your case, a result of that. Obviously, it can also be due to the heart, but again, it's not something we're privy to details how it functions. Other areas of your form, and also be to a great degree influential, depending if you're considering physical communication or non-physical, right?
yes.
Your identity, you're radiating, this is who I am, also tends to do with your solar plexus more than, for example, what clothes you're wearing or your hairstyle, etc. Right? Those are all outward manifestations. Also, as far as your crown, it depends greatly. You don't have to walk bare feet, it just has some energetic idea, right? But also depends greatly how far you're standing on your 2 feet in your own reality, right? Or just meandering around.
Yes.
But of course, just to a great degree, especially if you decide to communicate verbally. It's not so much the words you're using, it's how far your soul is open. But again, you're communicating all the time anyway if you're not using words.
Am I a part of Kalask?
Well, obviously, since there's no timing, everything is possible in the future, past, present, whatever. And obviously, there are beings in our species that decide to have connections to beings on planet Earth. So it's possible for your, what you consider a future version of yourself, being connected to a being of us that has a higher self. But we wouldn't consider if we have reincarnations or pre-incarnations in your species besides the vessel, or it works beyond the confinement of what you consider time, so it's possible. And obviously, you're tuning into our frequency, which makes it more possible.
Yes.
So you're part of our legion, if you wish.
Yes,
well,
I feel like Kalask in me, and it also could be the willpower, the energy.
You're connecting to us because you find our frequency pleasant, simply, right? Now,
yes.
You can of course consider us being a part of us or having a past, present incarnation, guides or whatever, but in reality, first and foremost, is you have a resonance with the frequency, right? Again, not words, well, have a better expression, and that can have a lot of functions, past, present, and future, that can come from that, because the first creation is the frequency.
Yes.
And again, don't overthink or you're closing your third eye now. Nothing wrong with having some interpretations after the fact, so to speak, but after, in this case, again, referring not to the timeline, but to the idea of once there's the frequency present, that trickles down to the idea of what your conscious mind interpret as having some form of connection, or a manifestation, or, for example, a singular symbol.
Yes. So I feel like that I receive quite a bit from Kalask. Is this correct? Or would
we
it be...
connect, yes.
Go ahead.
We connect to you frequently, right? But again, from your perception, it happens in time intervals. For us, it's just, these are in the present of this particular frequency, and every time for you it happens. It just means for us, we are at that frequency level where we have this connection. So for us, it's a constant connection we have to you, but only your version that is connected to us is the one that's present. The other Lisas, basically, or your other identity points that are not connected to us, are simply not present there. However, for you, it might be at this point, at this day, I contact with Kalask, at another point, another point, another point, another point, right? But for us, it's a certain version of you that's always there.
Yeah. That's actually, thank you.
You're very welcome.
That helps with the frequency, that version, and that way time, it doesn't matter. That version's always connected. That's why there's no space and time. That actually that helps. That helps.
For certain, that helps probably a lot of people should that are listen to this particular explanation. You realize your species has an easier time with examples than with general concepts.
Yes. Yes, they do help. Thank you. Okay, so my question would be too is there other reptilians that are in my field that I am connecting with, but I didn't know, because I usually, I go through Kalask. So if other reptilian energies are coming through, maybe go ahead.
Well, go ahead first.
I was going to mention that I did draw a being, a reptilian being, and I really feel a connection to this being.
Well, yes, if you're referring to it right here, and my parents Kalask is just a person, this is not a member of us. That person is more linked to the vertical, right? But obviously, since they're linked to us, since they're linked to the vessel, it's not that unusual for people to connect to us and then finding something like what you would consider a counterpart, or whatever. In this particular species, it's they're much more open to such a connection than, for example, we, since we are more working on collective spaces where there are more of an individualist perspective. Now the individual is more linked to them, right? They might also have some genetic infringements for others. We aren't certain about that, but certainly there's some connectivity going on with the individual. Now, of course, like the idea of fire is something we certainly recommend greatly for you to have a connection with this particular person. You'll have to use the symbol of this particular race, whatever, right? You can also use whatever resonance with you greatly and what we picked up from the vessel while you shared certain imaging of this individual, right? It's particular connectivity with the fire. So even more than a drawing that you individually provided compared to the one you provided in connection with the fire, where the fiery energy is present due to the physical representation, the visual representation that like gets greater.
Yes. Yes. That is great. It's great because I saw that connection.
So do we, yes.
That's great. And the fire, can it be used as a portal?
That's just another word you like to use in your language. It can mean a lot of things and nothing at the same time. Now, you can of course simply concentrate on the fire, and then you have an easier time connecting to it, like our symbol, right? Or the vortex symbol if you prefer. But you also can place the vortex symbol as fire, whatever. Doesn't really matter. Those are all just dial-ups, right? It's a number that you type in your phone to dial up.
Yes. Yes.
So
and
it's quick dial button.
I can see that because, I mean, I saw the being through the fire a couple times, so that's the resonance is already there, and that's great.
It also relates to your own state being more fiery.
Good. Yes. Physically and
And energetically, emotionally, yes.
Yes.
Heating up, right?
Yes, I'm embracing my fireness.
Very well. That's then will link you to certain beings that are at that frequency, to whom you will constantly be present, right, as this version of yourself.
Yes. I have a question. Okay, so the this being, the picture that I drew on top, I had drawn Vortex symbol. So they're actually on my wall connected. Are they? And you said they are connected?
Yes, that's a member of the species, yes.
Awesome. Fuck yeah.
There you go.
Whew, that's great. And then I also feel, well, the connection is me. When I look at this person's eyes,
Well, the reptilian eyes obviously have the strongest effect in this particular energy of the species, so obviously you create a connection there. And yes, you can see your own reflection, so to speak, in another person's eyes. In this case, yes, the individual has a link up with you, particularly again, as we said, what the group does more individual link ups than we.
is this a female or male?
Well, this is a female, right? But
Yeah.
you, the energy, might seem more male due to reptilian energy being somewhat different from your own species, but this particular individual happens to be of a female orientation.
That's great, because she felt, masculine because of the energy, but I felt like she was a female.
Yes, obviously you can also connect to particular beings and species that are more masculine, that are physically masculine, right? If you're a sire, this particular person is female, but there obviously are also other species or a masculine orientation that you can connect to as well. So it's not like you're limited to this particular frequency or individual of a female nature. We are just informing you here of what you're currently dealing with.
Yes. I'm pretty excited about that.
We can imagine.
Has this person been help assisting with my sacral?
Well, obviously, the more you're connected to the individual, yes, the more you're also in this particular frequency and resonate, and the individual obviously functions sacred, so you're picking up of that, yes, of course.
Okay.
Also with your solar plexus to some degree, but yes, it's mainly the sacred. Grounding okay. Also correctly.
Yes. Great. I'm pretty excited about that. I'm also excited about it because I saw it. And
yes, you're checking up on yourself.
Yes, thank you. Checking up on myself. Wonderful. Wonderful. Okay. Well, I did want to go on to a couple other questions. Did you want to go ahead and hydrate or anything?
Yes, that's a great idea.
Okay, me too. Yep. A few months ago, I had some major head pain where I thought I was going to die inside my head. Yeah, I thought I was going to die. So I stayed present with myself. I didn't want to separate from the pain. I did ask for assistance. I would like to know more about that. Do you have information?
Obviously, relating to your third eye again, right? Anything to do with this reaching your physical form. There's also connection to some of your genetic lineage, right?
Okay.
Female lineage, perhaps your own mother, right?
Okay. Yes.
Well, we're reading from your own energy, so you're a child study in your frequency. So there is something that you might not have integrated, not saying you need to interact with the individual, just something that you pick up from your energy, do with that whatever you will. Now, everything in this region out of your physical form likely has to do with interpretation of energy. your third eye, right?
Okay.
Yes, some degree also your sacred. Again, your female lineage seems to be relevant here.
So I mean, the RH negative things coming up. I think. I mean, does it have anything to do with it?
Well, being in your bloodline.
Yes, because I think my mother is.
Well, that being in your bloodline, yes, that would be asking if you're meaning that has any relevance to it.
Yes, that's what. Yes, does that have any relevance to it?
Well, since that is your makeup physically, yes, of course, everything has a relevance to everything if it's at least emotionally connected to you if you're making that connection. Now, of course, your biological lineage in this case has a certain frequency to it, being your blood type, for example, which has certain attributes that you reject in some instances, right? Which might connect to your fiery nature, for example. And it's really fun if you do reject anything that's somewhat related to your identity, you create some form of blocking, right? Of course, it doesn't have to be inherited, in just in this case, that's the representation that you choose. Again, if you overthink things, you're just closing yourself off further. Energetically important is to work with what you got, not just to get lost in details. We're aware your species has this tendency, we're also aware from the vessel and many others, so it's not just you personally, we're just trying to catch you here and get you back on track every time it happens.
Would it have anything to do with like nationality, like Norwegian, or does it have anything to do with those kind of things?
Well, anything that identifies you physically, yes. And of course to do with your current identity in your world, also your lineage, everything, who you understand yourself to be, etc., right? And again, this pleasant your physical form obviously has to do with your cycle, right? And then of course your particular lineage, this region of your planet, the particular northern region of your European continent, has genetic lineage from a certain species over which you got it in your bloodline today. That interacted with Elders not that long ago compared to other extraterrestrial races that left their genetic imprints what you consider a longer time ago, which just means a different frequency range, right? So for our interpretation, this particular lineage is frequency aligned more with the extraterrestrial species than others. From your perception, it happened in younger times. That's genetic interbreeding. Also one of the points where it wasn't genetic engineering, but sexual intercourse that created this particular genetic influx. Which of course, in the terms of it coming on the planet, has a different effect than when something is designed in the laboratory. And of course, you also have DNA from different lineages that are interacting better or less good, depends how you clear it, with this one.
Which is why, like my sacral is well, being affected, or the connection with my mom, and that's quite interesting.
Yeah, it's just your physical identity, right? And again, pleasure having in it. The solar reflection is more your pride, right? Being comfortable in your identity is who I am, being proud. The groundedness obviously more is the root, but being pleasantly comfortably in the sense of enjoying it, right? The same way you enjoy good food or good sex or any form of physical interaction. That's very much related to the sector.
Yeah, and being in line with that, being in line with what you're feeling, thinking, and doing.
Right.
Makes a huge difference. And instead of being misaligned, you may want to do this, but you're not going to do this because of whatever. Instead of just enjoying it.
Yes, and very often you have the best effects when you're enjoying it.
Yes, yes, definitely.
You're in the moment, and again, being in the moment, since there is no time, since it translates to having your full focus on your full being there, what is currently happening. In other words, the version of you that is carrying out a task has the most energy compared to when you're sending your energy to all kinds of other timelines that are not currently in your co-interpretation is happening, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So again, if you're enjoying your level of pleasure, you're fully there.
Yes, and that's it could be even if someone perceived that the other person is doing bad or whatever. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter. That's
what you
perception,
perceive
anyways.
is your projection anyway. So as soon as you perceive something, you created it. If you are fully in the moment, you can't get lost in it. Ever try to think of your favorite cooking recipe while you're having an orgasm?
Yeah.
That gets you fully in the moment. So when you're fully enjoying something, you're definitely there. And whatever else is outside of you, you can decipher much more clearly. And you're much aware of it, what you are projecting, what you are creating, etc. Things aren't happening to you, which they never are, but your perception is clear that they aren't happening to you, but you are happening to them.
I wrote that down. I've been really, nothing's happening to me. It's me doing it.
Exactly.
And that actually it helps out so much when I'm going through my reality, not projecting on the other person that they're doing something to me. It's actually me. It's actually me. And that's why when I become okay with it, or whatever I'm doing, or whatever perceived that they're doing, once I'm okay with that, then it changes, the frequency changes, and then they change because I did.
Exactly. It's not even that it changes because you did. You create a difference and it has no other choice but to match it. It's instant. You only sometimes create a lag, time lag, in order to have an excuse for yourself to experience something different, right?
Yeah. So there it goes. I've been like the responsibility of creating, like we're creating all the time, and
right, you cannot possibly not create. You can't, well, I would like to have a big car, a big house, I'm gonna write that down in 10 minutes every day, I'm gonna think about that, I'm gonna create that, and the rest of the time I have all I'm not doing any creation whatsoever.
And then if you don't want to take responsibility for something, then someone's gonna take that responsibility and then make you do it because
you're only always responsible. But if you project your responsibility somewhere else, you're giving your power away. Right.
Yeah. It's great. It's great to know. It's awesome because I am awesome.
There you go.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Also, welcome for Mortak for getting you in touch with your fiery nature and your pleasant experience with your own identity. Great applause you for that statement.
Yes. Vortak. It's awesome. Okay. That's awesome. I take pictures a lot, and there are things out in the sky, and I know that I've talked to you about it before, where I had this picture, and it was a cloud formation that looked like a dragon, and so you helped me understand that. I think that my ego kind of like formed the cloud because of the energy that was there, and that's what I saw. Would that be like a good explanation? Well, just in case, unless you want to go ahead and
are always creating something, in this case a cloud formation, yes, but again, it doesn't mean that there wasn't clouds in the sky. Anyway, you just attract, right, whatever beings or energy want to express itself in such a manner which you then perceive, for example, dragonic being, right?
Yes.
Or an airplane, or an air balloon, right? Or a flying spaghetti monster, doesn't really matter. Of course, your mind has to interpret it in a way that you doesn't make you completely go crazy, right?
Yeah.
It would be the pink elephant, would perhaps be a little bit too far-fetched. The dragon might already be too far-fetched for a lot of people. That's also why a lot of people see a spaceship, but they're just certain they saw an air balloon or they saw an airplane, etc., because their conscious mind has to come up with something. And also,
Yes.
it's always instantly, right?
Yes.
That's how cloaking technology also works.
So.
Yes.
Yes. My question.
Yes, we're perhaps drawing closer in the timing, approximately 5 minutes or so, should be left in our interaction, so perhaps if you have one more important thing to bring up, it would be a good idea.
Why do I have such a fascination with the sky and the clouds and what's in there, what's up there? I have a desire to know what's going on. I love it. It doesn't. And I'm integrating different. I believe I've been seeing triangular crafts, even like in by my home or above my home, and different other things. And even if there is a cloud formation where it sees, I think it's a dragon. That means the energy is there and I'm connecting too. But I guess I would like to know a little bit more about the triangular crafts that I've been seeing.
Yes.
And who would they be? Who am I connecting with and seeing?
Well, likely those are TR3Bs, right, from your own governments. We're aware the vessel has seen quite a few of those as well. But again, it's not too far located from a military base, right?
Yeah.
By the way, we're aware of this current event that was not that long ago. Your own understanding of timing that you're storming a certain area on your planet, there are alleged alien crafts there, etc. Like, those 3R3Bs are also parked there, for example, but they're reverse engineered what you consider extraterrestrial crafts. And the main reason most of your species are in the sky is also because you're aware that you're originally from there, or at least a part of your lineage is originally from there, since you're all more or less interbred between Harris monkeys from Earth and Harris monkeys from somewhere else, right?
Yes.
Some more than others. You perhaps more than others, for example. Again, your particular village we referred to earlier. And then, of course, there's the radio. In modern times, you're more aware of what's going on out there due to certain leakings, right? In your government's own agency of there's something to this, yes, there's just a cover-up story, etc. And of course, certain extraterrestrial beings also have crafts that resemble similar functions. But most of you are so well likely from your own government, and since you're simply observing the sky, everything is currently flying around there, you're more open to it than other persons, for example. Now, of course, there are also beings in your sky that are not from your own planet, right?
Yeah.
But they only make up a certain percentage, and it's likely you also some of those. Sometimes they're hard to distinguish, or they make differences. Those that are from outside have certain capacities in their flight that those from your own planet do not have, right?
Yes.
For example, jump from one place to another.
Yes. Great. Thank you for that. And have I been seeing a real flying being? Whether, whether it's a dragon or another being, or is it a drone? Because this thing's really fast, but I really feel like I've seen a flying being that's really big.
Well, yes, you have seen beings. There are physical, biological, yes.
Flying in the sky? Yeah. Okay.
Well, we're aware our time is up, so there's not much more to share regarding individuals and how this works. There are bleak truths or dimensionalities, realities, whatever, right? So they can be more physical, as physical pens correctly. There are windows or portals, like your Bermuda Triangle, for example, where beings can come in and out. Just referring to the word that you seemed to like from this earlier. But if you wish to have more details on this, we're aware. We perhaps have to schedule this for another direction, because we're aware of the 10 vessels' own idea and interpretation of time constraints for its own reason.
Yes, that's great. I mean, I'm excited about just knowing about that too. I mean, I can do a lot of things here in my reality, and I'm getting more and more excited.
What appropriate. Because
yes.
remember, the more you excited you are, you enjoy the moment, the more clearer you're present and create more consciously.
Yes. Thank you, Kalask. Thank you for so much. Okay, then. Until next time, or in a minute
But
or whatever.
strengths, right?
Yes.
Understanding of time and frequency alignment to Lisa.
Thank you, Kalask. Respect, honor, and appreciations to you. Yes.
Task!
Did it again.